Today we're talking about Neptune opposite the sun for all signs of the zodiac. This is happening September 19th, so we're talking about the meaning of this transit for every sign of the zodiac. You can watch your sun, moon, and rising. Just know your rising will be the most accurate when it comes to what's happening in the physical world. My course, Aligned Career Mastery, is open for enrollment. You can get into it now, and if you sign up by the 25th, you get a free gift. So check it out below, and let's get into the video. First of all, we're going to start with Aries, sun, moon, and rising. And for Aries, we're going to see the sun here in your 6th house opposite Neptune in your 12th house. The sun in the 6th will illuminate your daily schedule, your routines. But Neptune is really, Neptune in the 12th is quite a spiritual transit where you're connecting with all things. And when the sun is illuminating that, it might be that you have to work more than you would like to. Or that the way you approach your diet, your fitness routine, your schedule, your pets, your coworkers, your work, if you have a job, all of those things under, not under scrutiny, but just under focus right now. Now with Neptune can dissolve the sun. So for some, this might be some time where things at work are unclear, chaotic. For others, this could be a time where you are not sure how you need to change your diet. You just know it needs to change. For some, this is about bringing spiritual truth and spiritual wisdom into your daily life and whatever obstacles are coming up to do that. For others, because the sun rules your 5th house of fun, you can be doing more things that are fun or bringing a focus on your creative self-expression into your daily life. And it can just be very spiritual with Neptune there, making it more dreamy, making there be more of a flow. So if you are an Aries who is into like flow state, this might be a really good time to try to get into a flow state because it just feels like the universe is supporting those kind of activities right now. I'm also seeing, what is your ideal spiritual practice? There might be some focus on this. It might be like your job is stopping you from it. That's probably the worst case scenario. Your job, your kids, what you have to do for your self-employment doesn't allow the time or the routine to go be spiritual. Now for others, maybe this is when you either plan a retreat or you take a vacation or something. It can be something like that as well. Either way, for Aries, we're seeing a focus on illuminating, what you do every day, and Neptune possibly dissolving that, maybe giving you a break, maybe making you feel like you need a break, maybe feeling confused about what you should be doing for the next few days, or just unclear what you should be focusing on for some reason. That can be another thing that's coming up here. So that's what I have for Aries. You can check out my other video on the top 5 things this transit will bring if you want more. Going on now to Taurus. For Taurus, sun, moon, and rising, we're looking here at the sun in the 5th house opposite Neptune in the 11th. So very, very good transit for creative self-expression. The sun can illuminate your desire to express yourself, but Neptune can make it unclear what that even is, right? Or the sun can also be illuminating something related to your hopes and dreams, where it's about you being able to go after them or feeling like you're not sure, or, it's almost like the sun can illuminate the confusion that's already been present there, or it can also help you see the ideal. But usually during an opposition, I would think that if you do see what your ideal hopes and dreams are, there might be something stopping you from them. So it might be seeing the obstacle since this is an opposition. There might be a feeling like you need to control your own friend group, your audience, your not like you need to control them, but like it's out of control. You need to manage it, like managing your friends and keeping them from going too airy-fairy off the rails, managing your audience, or even managing the money from the work that you do and trying to keep it from going everywhere, because Neptune has the tendency to disperse things. So those are just some ways. Also, the sun being your 4th house ruler in the 5th can bring a focus on home, but almost like home, your emotional foundation informs your creativity. It gives rise to either, your home is supporting your kids right now, which, if you have kids, that's probably what's happening. Or your emotional foundation is supporting your creative next step, or your next step in self-employment, your creative potency, your ability to manifest. This would be a good time to, do some inner work with the Neptune hitting the sun. It's like, this might just be chill time, right? This might be time to receive, to chill out, to relax, to just let the universe sort of work on you a bit. Especially for Tauruses, this feels very much like a time to just be at peace and ease and enjoy what you've got. So let me know, Tauruses, if that resonates. I always love hearing from you. And if it does, tell me what I said, because I don't remember. Moving on now to Geminis. For Geminis, sun, moon, and rising, you guys have the sun in your 4th house with Neptune in the 10th house in this opposition. So on one hand, there's a focus on 3rd house topics in the home. So this could be where you keep your cars at home, your garage. This could be your siblings coming over, or a focus on sibling relationships or family dynamics. There can be something going on for Geminis related to work-life balance where, maybe it's the time you're just spending more time at home. Maybe you have some time off or something, or maybe you're just spending the time you do have at home thinking about stuff, because you've got Mercury there in the 5th house. That's you. So it's like you're at home thinking about stuff. Your thoughts and your conversations may be more internal. There might be more of an internal dialogue. There might be more things you're realizing right now. You might be contemplating things more. With Neptune, there really is that softening of an ego, of a sense of self. And it's a time where sometimes we can be like, I don't like the way I am in this area. I don't like the way I'm handling my home life. I want to change it. I don't like my roommates. I don't like something about home illuminating what needs to be different here. But it can also have to do with career as well, especially with Saturn in the 10th, Neptune in the 10th. This is a time for Geminis of putting a lot out there, putting a lot on the table, usually with Saturn in the 10th. So with this sun opposite Neptune, it's like, there can be a next step in career that hasn't fully come into form yet. And there can be some thoughts about that, or feelings even of, this is working against me. You might be seeing the things that are against the career, or seeing the obstacles to career. But at the same time, this is a transit that if you're feeling dissatisfied with your career or your home life, this would be a transit to connect with that dissatisfaction and see where it's coming from and what needs to change. If you are feeling really inspired to your career, this would also be a good time to make sure that there's grounded steps supporting that inspiration. And with Saturn there, it will actually help with that. So that is what I have for Geminis. Going on now to Cancers. For Cancers, sun, moon, and rising, the sun will be in the 4th house here. And it is going to be opposite Neptune in the, For Cancers, the sun in the 3rd house opposite Neptune in the 9th really brings focus to, are you communicating what you know? And with the Neptune here, you might feel like you don't know what you don't know, or you don't know what you do know. There's some confusion there, but there's also a dissatisfaction with the meaning of life that can happen as Neptune's like floating along here. And Saturn coming in March probably could be bringing some focus on, if you have been dissatisfied with how meaningful life is, don't be too discouraged. Neptune will get the hell out of that house at some point in the future next year. Sometimes it makes me feel better just knowing this shit isn't going to be forever. But Saturn's helping in a way because it'll help you face and fix those things since March. But it can also be for those of you who are teachers, who are speakers, who are doing things 9th house related, astrology, studying things that are related to the esoteric field, laws of the universe, knowledge, deep knowledge, inspiring things, studying Pisces type things like film and stuff, things that are inspiring to people. Anything like that, there might be a focus here on how do I communicate what I know? And it might be I don't know how to communicate what I know. And that focus, that just showing up for you, oh shoot, I got to figure this out. Or for some of you, this can have more to do with money because the sun is your money planet. So your money planet in the 3rd house, number one, some of you might be investing in a car. You might be spending money on a car. You might be giving money to a sibling. You might be spending money with siblings, and money might be happening. Some that's not going to relate, but some it will. It could also be that you're investing into learning, investing into knowledge, investing into knowing something new and wanting to understand something that is elusive to you or brings you confusion, and like wanting to like figure it out. That can happen too here. But again, it does feel more like the sun illuminating, the areas of life that are unclear as far as your life direction and path, but also Neptune kind of dissolving some things related to money. Now, for some Cancers, this might be a good time to what am I trying to say? To figure out what you believe about money and to release money. If you've been wanting to give money away, or if you've been wanting to get rid of some stuff, or if you've been wanting to sell a car, this might be a time where it happens. Like for some, it will not be your choice. It'll be like the car gets, repoed. Hopefully nobody gets their car repoed right now, but it's possible because Neptune dissolves and it's like the law. So the law says your car is taken. For those of you who that applies, you're probably going to know. I mean, don't freak out on me and get all scared. But do let me know. Do let me know if that's true, because I got to know if, if it's that accurate. You guys have to tell me. Okay, what else could happen? You could just be investing into your car because of legal stuff. Like you did a smog test and now you failed it, and then you got to, get it updated or something. It could be something really small like that. And for others, it's not about your car at all. It goes back to how are you communicating what you know, and how is maybe your fear of other people knowing more than you causing you to not share what you know or what you have to say. So that could also be happening for Cancers. Let me know in a comment if it's true. I love hearing from you, and check out my other video on this transit for more. Moving on now to Leos. For Leos, the sun in the second house opposite Neptune in the 8th, definitely a money transit. Now, not necessarily like a winning the lottery type of thing. This is more of a who am I when it comes to how much money I have kind of a transit. Because you are the sun. When the sun is opposite Neptune, you can kind of feel a little bit like, who am I? Who am I really? Am I really who I think I am? Do I really have as much money as I think I am because the sun's in that second house? Are my things what I think they are? So this could be a moment where Leos realize the stuff you have isn't as valuable as you thought, or it is more valuable, or you're confused about the value of your stuff. For others, it could be more of a time of consciously deciding to release limiting beliefs around money, doing some work in altered states of consciousness related to money. It could also be something related to your partner's money and confusion around your partner's assets or other people's assets that makes you, affects your identity, affects who you are. So worst case scenario, your partner loses a job. Now you don't have as much money from them, and there's an existential crisis going with it, right? I'm exaggerating, but really, it could be that. It could be like a little bit of a feeling of like, who am I now that we're not in this income bracket? That's only the worst case scenario, but it's true that when Saturn does hit your 8th house, that happened back in March, that you tend to have to be more independent. So any way you have been depending on other people will usually gets cut off during that time. Or like if you're trying to get a loan, it's harder, that kind of stuff. So other ways this can show up, the sun in the second house, if you sell things, okay, if you are a Leo who sells things, this could be a more important transit for you. There can be confusion around what you're selling or how to price it, or what people value it as, what your things are valued as. You could be getting that, or realizing. It could be you realize the need to get a reevaluation of your home or something like that. So lots of possibilities. A lot of this is about, my money or your money, whose money, and it getting mixed up or tangled up in things, especially if you have a partner who you're sharing resources, or a business partner. But if it's not that, there could also be a little bit of psychic stuff going on here, where it's the psychic information is coming in, but it's like hard for you to be the person who's getting that information. Hard to accept that, now I'm this weirdo kind of a thing, or like, like when the spirit guides are knocking and you're like, I don't want you to knock. something like that. So it could be that as well. We're going to stop there and move on to the next sign. Leos, if you want more, check out my other video on the top 5 things this transit is going to bring. It's true for everyone. Going on now to Virgos. For Virgos, the sun in the first house is illuminating your life direction, while Neptune in the seventh house is bringing confusion around partnership dynamics. So it's like some sudden attention, recent growth, recent positive momentum forward, recent change of plans, recent things that have made you more visible or more aware of your own subconscious fears related to the next steps you're taking could all be causing confusion in relationships. It's like, crazy example, someone gets famous and now it's like, oh, these people aren't my friends, they're losers. They just want my money now, or something else like that, where some kind of change to life, some kind of focus on your life direction. It may not be that big, right? It may not be getting famous. It might just be getting a promotion or having more eyes on you, something sun in the first house, which is like you being seen by more people, you being more visible in some way. And then Neptune causing that confusion of like, I don't know how to handle this, or like, do people love me or hate me? I can't tell. Or is this person lying to me or telling me the truth? I don't know. Things like this, dynamics with other people. Now, if you're in a relationship, then this could be something self-focused with your own life direction, making it like, now I don't know where I stand with my partner. If you're single, it could be something where like you're doing something new and it's like the new you, the new appearance, the new something is like making you unclear what kind of people you can date. It's like, I don't know. I mean, like imagine you suddenly lost a bunch of weight and now like you can date people way hotter. Just apply this to whatever fits in your life. But this is my very mature example of how this can show up. It's like, maybe you've up-leveled or something, and now there's a change to who you are and who other people see you as. But this change may be disorienting, right? So it's like when the person gets famous and then everyone treats them differently and they're like, well, I'm just little old me. What are you talking about? Right? Where it's like that transition is not always easy on the person. Even though we all romanticize those things, sometimes when we level up, it comes with new challenges and we have to navigate things differently. We have to set different boundaries. With Saturn in the 7th, I would not be surprised if around the 19th, if there's a positive change in your life direction, that might be happening. Another thing to note for Virgos, good time to have a breakthrough, good time to push yourself past previous limits, because the Neptune is going to dissolve the sun. The sun is your subconscious fears. So it's like, this is a time where you might be able to just like go through something you've been afraid of before, but in this moment, maybe the fear, Neptune is going to numb that fear a little bit so you can approach it more forcefully or more confidently, or even unconfidently, but just do it. You know what I mean? So that's my sort of advice or guidance here for Virgos is don't limit yourself from the past. Let Neptune dissolve who you think you are. Let Neptune dissolve what you think you're afraid of and go for what you want. Put all the pieces together and go for what you want, Virgo. All right. Going on now to the next sign, which is Libra. For Libras, we are talking about the sun in the 12th and Neptune in the 6th. So this is highlighting the axis of working and being involved in your daily life and being of service in the 12th house, which is another aspect of being of service, but it's being of service behind the scenes in an invisible way to people with invisible problems like mental health or addiction or spiritual maladies or, I sound like an old person, spiritual crisis, dark night of the soul, right? So it's like, there might be a lot of focus for Libras right now on being of service to people, but there can also be some dissatisfaction with your work life because Saturn entered that 6th house in March, bringing more work, more responsibilities, more work to be done. And sometimes that more work doesn't come with more reward when it's Saturn going through the 6th. The reward of Saturn going through the 6th, the work you do, doesn't come until after Saturn leaves that house. So just know, Libras, if you've been working harder since March, you might be getting those rewards in 2.5 years. Not to make you feel bad, but just like it's not for nothing. But Neptune here puts you more in touch with the ideal. So it's like, not only are you working harder, you're also more aware of all the ways you wish you weren't, all the ways you wish your work life could be, your coworkers could be, your pets could be. If you have employees, your employees could be, just all of the things that, like, wouldn't it be perfect if my work life was like this? But Saturn's here, so it's not going to be right now. But you may find yourself wanting to be inspired to create that, to work hard to create that. But the sun in the 12th you might want to hide a little bit right now. You might just not want to be coming into work. You might want to be working remotely. You might just be working remotely. Your friends might be going through some stuff. You might have a group of friends or an audience who are going through some more challenging stuff, as the 12th house is a challenging house and the 11th house is what the sun rules. So it's like, your sun is getting hit, it's getting dissolved. So if you have like a social media audience, this might be a time where they're hard to find, they're hard to reach. You know, you could feel like you can't reach people or you're not seen, especially with that sun in the 12th house. So if you're feeling invisible around the 19th, just know it's only going to be a few more days. And some of you might want to be invisible. You might want to be like, get me out of this spotlight, let me go home, let me be, in my jammies, working on my laptop or whatever it is you're doing. But either way, this 6-12th house axis is kind of about our showing up to work, or showing up to the daily grind versus our staying home. Now, with the sun in the 12th, some of you might just be on vacation and not doing nothing, or, taking a couple days off and just enjoying the time off, or having more downtime after work. It might be just simple relaxation. But for Libras, if you are feeling dissatisfied with your work-life balance or with your daily schedule, this is the time to kind of honor that feeling and dig a little bit more deeply. If you're wanting to change your friend group, if you're wanting new friends, this could be a time where some friends could be slipping away. Or if you're wanting to pivot your audience, this is also a good time to pivot when it comes to friends, hopes and dreams, or audience. Those three things, because that's what your 11th house rules. Neptune will make that process a little bit more easy, actually. So that's what I have for Libras. Let me know in a comment below if you relate to it. And you can check out my other video on this transit for more on this. Moving on now to my Scorpios. For Scorpios, let's see here. Okay, so for Scorpios, we have the sun in the 11th house and Neptune in the 5th house. The sun in the 11th has been highlighting your hopes and dreams and illuminating them and helping you see, especially with now Mercury direct, what are your hopes and dreams? What's the path? Like maybe you've gathered some information lately around those hopes and dreams, and now it's time to take that information and put it into a focused plan or path ahead when it comes to making money from the work you've done, or, some kind of hope, dream you want to accomplish, especially if that hope or dream has any kind of creative power to it. The sun is your career, it's your career planet. It rules your 10th house. So it's like, now is the time to kind of go after play a bigger game when it comes to career. So if you've done something in your career, it's like you might want to bring that to more people, or somehow make it bigger, do it on a bigger scale. If you're like, no, I haven't done anything, this might just be a time where you're connecting in with a hope or dream when it comes to your career. But Neptune dissolves. So sometimes you can feel dissatisfied with your career. You might be feeling like, man, this is it when it comes to like your career or your reputation. So Neptune might be bringing you in touch with that sense of dissatisfaction and putting you in touch with the ideal, especially when it comes to your self-expression. So it's almost like, for Scorpios out there who want to be themselves more, be more creative in their careers, this might be a time where you're more motivated to do that work. But this transit on the 19th is going to put you more in touch with that dream. What is your creative dream? Or do you want to have kids? Or do you want to have your own business? These are all 5th house things. Do you want to have more fun? Neptune's putting you in touch with that, while at the same time, your work is stopping you from it, kind of is how it feels, this opposition. Just know it's short transit. It's not going to last forever, but you can extract the information that Neptune gives you by just letting it be okay, especially if, for some Scorpios as well, you may be getting less attention at work than you normally do, or something like that where you're not seen, you're invisible, you feel like you don't exist. Worst case scenario, Neptune opposite Sun, you feel like you don't exist. Only the boss exists, right? Some authority comes in and overshadows you and outshines you. If that is happening, know that it is temporary. It is not going to last forever, and that it's only a few days. But for the bigger existential questions you may be asking during this time, during the 19th is a good time to kind of slow down and take it all in, and let yourself connect with what you really want. What do you really, really want for the most joy, because that's kind of what this transit will help you see. Especially if that joy comes from helping others. So we're going to move on now to the next sign, which is Sagittarius. Scorpios, if you want more, feel free to watch my other video on what to expect from this transit. Sagittarius is, this transit is happening for you. The sun is in the 10th and Neptune in the 4th. So this is bringing, focus on what your career identity is right now. Neptune kind of dissolves that. Now that could be because you're in the midst of a change and a transition. And it's like the day the YouTube channel blows up and you're not the famous YouTuber yet, but you're also not the little YouTuber you used to be, right? So this is my analogy here, but it could be with anything in life. So apply that to whatever you're up to, where it may not be a rise to something great, but it's a transition. The day you lose a job, maybe. I mean, probably not with this, but this is more like a gradually work becomes less meaningful and more boring and factual. Maybe this is a day you have to work on a spreadsheet or something. You're just gathering data. It's really monotonous. But for others, it can be more of a bigger life transition in terms of what you're known for, just because that sun and what's meaningful to you. So Neptune might be helping you dissolve the old ideas of what you thought was important. And now there's a space for new ideas to form. They might not be formed yet, and that's okay. Allow yourself to be in the transition, because Neptune, Sun, it's going to take away our self-definition in this area. For you, it's your 9th house of the meaning of life. What you define as meaningful may be changing. Also, Neptune is in your 4th house. You might be more in touch with the ideal home, where Saturn is here. This could be making home life either more difficult or bringing more of a sense of responsibility. For some people, it's like just the topic of home becomes more challenging. For others, it's like, I want to buy a house kind of a thing. Like you're ready to make a commitment to that 4th house of home. So what can be happening? The sun can illuminate that dissatisfaction, or it can help you see the ideal. Sometimes that's because something happens that is the opposite of ideal, right? Sometimes we're more in touch with the fact that we don't want cockroaches when we see a cockroach, or, the fact that we don't want roommates when our roommate is being a jerk and waking us up at 2 a.m. Whatever the case may be. There might be some realization on the 19th of something about your home life that sucks. And you're like, okay, I want it to be different. So that can be how that transit shows up. It is a faster moving transit, so it may not be as life-changing, but because the sun does rule your 9th house of the meaning of life, it does make me feel like something about this might be meaningful to you. It might matter to you a lot, what your home is like. Or, there can be something going on for Sagittarius here where, is your home supporting the work you want to do? Is your home life, the way that your home is, the amount of peace in your home, the lack of peace in your home, is that supporting you being the best you can in your career? Now, for some, it might not be something you can change. If you just had a baby, you're not going to get rid of the baby, right? You're going to just suffer through it and hopefully move forward. But for others, these will be things you want to change that you can change. And it'll be coming to the realization of how your home is your castle, and you need that emotional foundation so that you can have the reputation, have the success that you want. For others, you can be getting some kind of attention or success in career, and it might just be slightly unsettling just from that fact of this is change, I'm not used to it kind of a thing. So that is what I have for Sagittarius. Let me know in a comment if it resonates. I always love hearing from you guys. And if you want more, you can check out my other video on all the different things to expect from this transit and how to work with them. Maybe not all of them, just the most important ones. Moving on now to Capricorns. Okay, so for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, the Sun is, is this right? Yes, the Sun is in the 9th house while Neptune is in the 3rd house. So maybe Neptune is putting you in touch with the ideal of how you speak, your sibling relationships, or how you learn your local environment, how you think, what courses you want to take. Whereas the Sun in the 9th house is kind of illuminating where you want to go that's far off. And these things are kind of at odds with each other. The Sun rules your 8th house of other people's money. So Neptune dissolving other people's money. Now this could be in a positive way. Neptune could be dissolving a debt for you. It could be dissolving like a student loan or something. That would probably be the best possible way this could show up, dissolving some interest you had. You get a lower interest rate or something. But it could also be dissolving resources you've been relying on from others, if that's the case. If you haven't been, well, then you're probably fine. But and with Venus in the 8th, it feels more positive of a dissolving, than a negative, although each person is different. Now, let me think here. 8th ruler in the 9th. This could also be something where you're doing something really meaningful with your partner, like Tantra, or like other things that just bring sort of a depth and a more deepening of a relationship. And it can still be confusing how to communicate that. It could be things that go beyond words that if you try to reach for words you can't. For some reason, I just got the thought of like a silent retreat where I've never gone to one, but I've heard, I read in a book once. So who knows if it's true, but I read in a book once that by the time the retreat's over, you just know what the other person's thinking. It's really amazing. But even then, there's still that Neptunian influence of like, but am I reading this right? Do I really know what they're thinking? This could be something else for Capricorns, though. The 9th and 3rd house axis is about how to communicate what you know. And with the Sun and Mercury here, it feels like your communication here is going to be, it's almost like maybe you figured out what everything means to you, but now you don't know how to say it. Or now it's about figuring out how to say it, and that part might take longer or be slower. So this could be related to anything in life. But just like, how do you put what you know into words or into form? This is probably going to be a theme during this transit. And if dynamics in relationships, especially power dynamics, are happening right now where you don't know who's who, like you don't know who's the most powerful person, or like you can't tell who's in charge, or you can't tell, whether they're going to respect you or not. That's temporary and it'll probably pass within the next couple days. So if you're trying to get clarity on, I don't know, like, is this person into you, or in a relationship you have, like on something related to, how invested in you are they? If that's confusing right now, it'll clear up pretty soon. Moving on now to Aquariuses. For Aquariuses, we have this, let's see where this is happening for you guys. We have the Sun in the 8th, opposite Neptune in the 2nd. Neptune in the 2nd, bringing you in touch with your ideal when it comes to money. What is your ideal amount of money? And because Saturn is in the 2nd and started coming in there, entered the 2nd house in March, you can tell I get tired at the end. I can't speak English anymore. Since Saturn's in your 2nd house since March, making money a little bit more difficult. Sometimes you choose to make less money because you want to do something more in alignment with your values during this time. Either way, money is a little bit elusive or confusing, or you're more in touch with the dream of how much money you want to have, but not necessarily clear how to take the next steps. Although maybe Saturn is helping with that. But the Sun in the 8th is illuminating other people's money. So for some of you, maybe this is the time where you're trying to figure out how to get a loan or a grant, and you're like, just focusing on that. For some of you, it's like maybe you've been gathering data or information related to a partner's money, related to finance or investing, related to risky money investments like stocks or bonds or real estate or whatever you would risk money in, gambling, whatever. I don't know what you all do, or something related to an estate and how to like get the money out of the estate. It could also be accounting, finances, taxes. Now the 8th house could also be mediumship or the other side, or gathering data about being a psychic if that's something you already do. Or it could be gathering data like learning tarot or something else like that, learning some kind of occult practice that relies more on intuition and connecting with the other side than it does on, like, it's not like something like astrology where you need to know all the rules and the techniques. To me, those go in the 9th house. To me, the 8th house is like when you're just connecting with spirit, not just, but you know what I mean. So it could be any of those topics, or sex, right? Because the 8th house is also sex. So who knows? Maybe some of you Aquarius have been learning some techniques. I don't know. Maybe some of you that'll be true for, but either way, whatever you've been learning related to any of those topics, now it's the time for Aquarius is to kind of focus that and like kind of form your identity and move forward and push forward related to that, and take that information and go do something with it, right? And that something might be related to a partner. So it's possible this is very relationship oriented, either significant other or business partner type stuff. But either way, Neptune's dissolving the sun. Worst case scenario, Aquarius says, if a relationship just ended, you can say thank you to Neptune for that. Neptune does that sometimes. Don't think your relationship's going to end. This isn't a major transit for most people, but it could be, Neptune's dissolving your partner's money. Maybe your partner just slowly lost their job, or they slowly stopped participating, contributing to something. Take whatever resonates, leave the rest. With Venus in the 7th, it doesn't make me feel like your relationship's on the rocks. It makes me feel like your partner's money might be on the rocks, if anything. Although, again, it could be just their financial situation is changing and now you need to adjust to whatever that change is. And there's a not knowing of how to adjust. That's kind of what I see here. It can also be like, who am I related to other people's money? Who am I if I take this loan? Who am I if I don't? And something about money, finances, or investment affecting your identity. So that's what I have for Aquarius. Moving on now to last but definitely not least, our Pisces. So for Pisces, we have the sun in your 7th house opposite Neptune in the 1st house. Something about your identity when it comes to relationships, like a new relationship or some kind of attention from a partner, or maybe a partner who is getting attention, maybe a partner who is getting in the limelight or something, or somehow a daily work schedule that affects your relationship more. Work or chores that somehow organize the other person or something like that. You two organizing each other and enjoying it or something. Possibly having some kind of easier work day, giving you more time to spend on your partner, helping them organize stuff. Something like that. Something you've learned about your partner, something you and your partner together have done for the last, few weeks now, being ready to be put forward. For those of you who are single, realizing what you want about relationships, maybe getting to know some different people with Mercury retrograde in your 7th house of relationship, going, I like talking to this person. I like talking to this person, and since you're single, it's like not really making a commitment, but getting to know the different types of people you could be in relationship with. And now Neptune coming along, making that more confusing. So it's almost like I get a story here of like maybe one Pisces out there who's like, figured out what they want, and then they fall for the person who's not that. Then they're like confused, like, but I can't love a homeless person or whatever. So let me know, Pisces, if you relate to this, or something else where some newfound information about your partner that you currently have creates confusion around your own identity. With Saturn in your 1st house since March, you've had more work to do. And it's usually stuff you got to do, not usually stuff you want to do. Sometimes it's stuff you're happy to step up to, even though it's not enjoyable, because you know it's worth the sacrifice. And especially since Saturn is your 11th ruler of your hopes and dreams, it's like stepping up, doing more work for some future outcome that you want to have. So at least that has a positive spin on it. Sometimes when Saturn enters the first, it's just you get the worst job, but you have to take it because you need the money. And it's like you're working overtime and really miserable. But Neptune hitting that sun, it kind of does, it can also make your daily work schedule confusing. So maybe worst case scenario, some Pisces out there could have changes to their job where there's more chaos around when you're expected to show up and leave or something. For others, it can be dissolving your daily schedule, like there is no schedule. Now, I guess that can show up differently for anyone, what that would look like. Losing a job, or maybe even like working remotely and you can do it whenever you want, but then that also being like, okay, but when do I do it? Kind of a thing, like there's something going on with work dynamics, work schedule, how you work with other people at the workplace that might be changing and causing some confusion. There might be something happening around the 19th for Pisces with your, again, with your daily schedule, your day-to-day life, that just changes things and you have to kind of adjust. And maybe it's like, I wouldn't say it's a shocking, unexpected thing, but more of a like, now my routine is not going to be what it used to be, or, because Neptune dissolves. So it's almost like your office at your job is closed for 3 days and you're like, well, what do I do with my time? Now this could be fun, right? You could just be like, okay, I'm going to just go shopping or whatever. It could be something enjoyable like that. Not everyone's job is going to close down, but I do see something making your normal day-to-day routine more confusing. So this could be something as simple as like construction on your way to work, or like the route you usually take, you can't take. The timing you normally get there, you don't do anymore for some reason. You're unclear, your hours are changing. They haven't told you what they're going to be. Something like that. So I expect some kind of change like that for Pisces. Let me know in the comments if that happens. I always love hearing, and tell me what I said, because I forget. If you want more on that, Pisces, go ahead and join my, or watch my other video that tells you what to expect from this transit. Neptune does rule you, so it's a big one for you. Also, join Aligned Career Mastery if you want to join us in learning about what your planets mean for your career. You don't really have to have a lot of astrology knowledge to do it. It's just being able to know where your planets are, what house and sign your sun is in. We're not even doing aspects. We're keeping it really simple for people so anyone can join and learn about your ideal career based on the different placements in your chart. I'll see you all beautiful souls in the next video. Bye guys.